Ba-la, ba-la, da-da, da-da. Elmo's World. Shit. Hello, TTP. Hey guys, this episode is going to really just be about changes. We're obviously doing a Get Ready With Me, but it's going to be about changes in our current life, changes that we've been going through that have now just brought us to where we are and taking us where we're going. And I got some big changes that I'm gonna not tell you guys about for at least, you know what I'm saying, a little while. We like to let things be solidified before anything, but I'm really happy, really excited, and let's just get into it. Hi, Spirit. Oh, that's the old me. New me, TTP me. Welcome back, TTP. Have y'all been trusting the process this week? I know I haven't. OMG, like, there's so many different things going on in my life right now. And y'all know me, I love to chat. But I really learned in the past that, when you involve too many people into the blessing that God's giving you, it can stress you out and just cause you to not want the blessing anymore and starts to do things that take you out of alignment with the blessing that's coming to you. So I'm trying to learn to not trip out. Because if you guys knew what I was dealing with right now, you'd be tripping out. But I'm honestly so proud of my growth. Even a year ago today, I would not be making decisions I am. But I'm excited, I'm super, super excited. You already know how we start this off with our bad boy, Miss. I don't know what's the best way to do it, but it's almost finished. My my primer, the Power Grip Primer, Elf. I don't know if y'all can see that, but yeah, we're gonna put a dot on there. So I feel like I can't talk about all the changes in my life, but I can talk about some of them. In a couple weeks, y'all, I'll be in Miami. Y'all know last year my family went on a trip to Miami, but there's a lot of things going on that I was fucking with. So I ended up deciding to stay home, and I ended up meeting DeVito. I swear, every single time, God just be amazing me, bro. Every single time I think things can't get better, even if it's a stressful situation, I'm just I just wish things were, I was in a different situation. It's crazy how God still uses the changes going on for your good, regardless of the situation. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a really light beat today because I'm just going to church and I hate wearing makeup. I got 2 clients. So I just, because I got this hormonal acne going on that we're going to have to figure out. Anyone knows some good hormone balancing teas, slide them my way. Okay. What other changes have I been learning to accept? Honestly, the biggest change that I've been learning how to accept lately is just being more so by myself, if that makes sense. Because as an adult, it's just you gotta learn how to be by yourself. If you're always chasing people, places, things, you're a lot of times you're gonna get caught up with the things attached to those people, places, things that you weren't looking for. And yeah, you might get the enjoyment side of it, but you also have things that you didn't really have to deal with, but now you're having to deal with it because you couldn't just, let it pass you. But I'm learning how to really just be okay with just being by myself. And I've always been a person that's, I'm saying, I love being around people. I love people, but I love being able to recharge, you know what I'm saying? Being able to recharge, get back to myself, reground myself, and just come back even better, if that makes sense. Another change, y'all know I've been doing digital marketing. Excuse me, y'all, don't mind me. I've been doing, digital marketing. I have an event. That's what I'm going to Miami for. My mentor of sorts, working and just watching behind the scenes and really learning how to really, dive into the new levels and new places that I'm trying to reach, or I am reaching, obviously. But I'm learning that, like, not everything has to be so rushed, you know? I could take my time with things and they still come out how I want them to, if not better, and on time. Because I feel like a lot of times when we get something good or we get a blessing from God, we feel like, oh, we have to do this, that, or third to keep it. But if it's from God, you don't have to sacrifice your mental health, your dignity, or your integrity, or anything really, in order to keep it. That's how you know where your blessings are coming from. That's how you can tell the difference of where your blessings is coming from. Because when it's not from God, you really gotta work. Like, you gotta work to keep it, especially if it's something that hurts other people. God's obviously gonna be putting some traction in your way in order for you to not hurt his other kids. But obviously, people think that, oh, because you're doing bad things, or you're moving with negative intent, that, and they're still getting quote unquote blessed, that they're not doing something that's wrong or harmful to others or even themselves. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of times we think, oh, because we're not physically, or you're not seeing the damage being done in real time, we think, oh, if it was that bad, God would stop me. If it was that bad, da 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 da. But I'm like, that's not how God works. And I hate that, like, we have made God to seem as if he's just this, like, ultimatum, a God of ultimatums, right? But we always forget that we have free will. Everyone cares about free will till it's actually important, till it actually comes to how your actions affect other people. Then you want to blame God. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, a lot of times we feel like, oh, well, if God didn't want me to be doing this, he wouldn't be letting me. But you have free will. You have free will, babe. You have free will. You sure do. And it's like, it's funny, but it's not funny, because a lot of times we get ourselves in situations using our free will, but then we want God to take away that free will to get us out of those situations that we got ourselves into. And it's crazy, because when he doesn't, and he lets you sit and learn the lesson that you put yourself into, it's like, oh, God is so evil. What? Or God isn't real. I'm like, babe, he's staring there looking at you like, what I do? It's your decision. Oh yeah, my handy dandy LA Pro Girl concealer staple. I'm so sorry. I don't really wear makeup that often, so I'm gonna stick to my. I mean, I have some, obviously some higher end products, but my little concealer is all I wear. Concealer, contour. So I just make sure I have high quality powders, like good, not even high quality, but good quality, like for the things that set my makeup. Because it's really not about what you have. Obviously, better quality products, you're gonna get better quality results. But girl, you can make some shake with what you got. I promise you. And that's another thing. We see other people's results and how they got there, and then we try to replicate that, not realizing that, one, it's not just their actions that are getting them to those positions. A lot of times, that may be actions that God has called them to do, and God has aligned with their path. So obviously, if they're doing what God told them to do, it's gonna work. But a lot of times, you try and take other people's processes, journeys, whatever the case may be, and replicate to get the same result. And it doesn't work, because that's not the guideline God has set out for us. know what I'm saying? It doesn't even, and even in those situations, it's not that you're doing something bad per se, or whatever the case may be, but you're just not doing what's good for you. What's good for someone else is not always what's good for you. And I'm so grateful that I learned that at the age I am, because I'm 22. I'm 22. And not to toot my own horn, but a lot of stuff I've learned at this age, I see people I know firsthand, personally, people 20 plus, 30 plus, 40 plus, 50 plus, 60 plus, still learning the same lessons. And you can, a lot of times you could tell where someone is stuck at. Because lessons are just opportunities to develop different parts of your character. Ooh. I hate that. Lessons are just opportunities to develop different parts of your character. This is my blush from my Morphe palette, Dare to Create 39A. This junk, yeah, had this, took this from my mama like 4 or 5 years ago. She's staying strong. Some of them may have fell out, but that's not the point. I like using, I don't really care for like I just like something that's rosy and pigmented. I got my Patrick Ta blush, but it's a little bit on like the colder side, which is good for me during wintertime. But this fall I like to mix them so I get like a warm tone, not too cold, not too red, you know? But back to what I was saying. Yeah, lessons are literally just opportunities to develop different parts of your character. So it's like, if you have, let's say, because a lot of times when we ask for things from God, we expect Him to just give it to us, like the ability to be like that. But how our abilities, or abilities are really just skills, or you can look at it in the same form. Abilities have to be tuned. Your skills need to be tuned, right? So you can, it's not like you don't have the ability to do it right now, but you're asking for God the strength and character to do what you're asking Him for. Let's run that back. Just break it down. Right. So you have, if every lesson is an opportunity to develop different parts of your character, then that means that whatever part of your character that you're stuck at that present moment, you can see how the situations that you're going through in life will reflect your angle, if that makes sense. Like, God won't just give you, oh, like if you ask for patience, He's not just going to give you patience because you didn't earn it. You work for it. So you're not going to value the patience. You might be patient today. He might give you that little bit of patience for today, but you're not going to be able to keep that. And you're going to need that patience for other different things in your life long term. So if you think about it like this, okay, if God, I'm asking God for patience, and He brings in people, right, that I've dealt with in the past that I didn't have much patience for, that then is an opportunity to show God that you're willing to work and you're willing to put in the work for the goal that you're trying to reach. So even though, like, when you get to the end goal, it might be like, okay, I had to go through all this stuff, right? But you're not realizing now that you went through all that stuff, now you have that patience you were asking God for. So it's like that little turmoil or whatever the case may be that you have to go in the present moment will then give you the skills that you're asking for. So when you see those situations again, you don't have to go through them. You recognize it and you understand, like, oh, I asked God for patience before in the past, and this person has already come back and I've already dealt with them. Now I'm seeing that type of spirit or that type of personality in a different person. Am I tripping, or is this another opportunity to prove my character? You feel what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's like God will give you opportunities to get what you want. He'll give you lanes, He'll give you positions. He'll put you in places that you're not necessarily qualified for to be able to get what you ask for. So it's like now we're like, okay, well, I have the patience now. What else do you want? Okay, I want to be happy. I want to have real, true joy. A lot of times we'll ask for things like material things or circumstances or like, how you call it? Experience is really to help us feel the way that we see. Like if you see something online, right? You see people on vacation. You'll be like, oh, I want to be like that free and stuff like that. Let God tell you quit your job. Let God tell you quit your job to give you the free time to do the things that you actually want to do. Now it's, God, how am I going to quit my job if I don't know what I'm going to have next? Let me tell you a little story, right? So last year, even though, you know what I'm saying, like, I'm not going to say you have to go through crazy things to get what you want, but I understand my story and my journey and how everything connects. So it's like I'm grateful for my experiences, even though to other people it might seem so insane. But it's like a lot of people, even my life that I live now, is like I know that there are situations where I've had with people that wanted things that I had, but I'm like, baby, if you had gone through the things that I went through, you wouldn't want those things anymore. You just give up and be like, you know what? Not for me. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm just like, thou shalt not covet is such an important testament, because it's like you're wanting something that someone else has, not knowing what they went through to like get what they have. You feel what I'm saying? That shit is so real, because a lot of times we put ourselves in situations to get that trip. You might hit up an authenticator, a scammer of sorts, thinking, oh, like that whole chase glitch. I'm sure all those people, like, I'm sure not every single one of those people was really out here trying to, like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of them probably didn't really understand what they're getting themselves into. But it's because they see other people with the cars, with the chains, with the clothes, with the trips. They're like, oh, if this is what they're doing, not knowing everyone has their time. Revelation has its time. Everything that happens in the dark will come to light. Every single thing. So it's like people will want things that these celebrities have, not realizing these people are lonely. Even with all that money, they have to really watch their back every 5 seconds because they don't have genuinity around them. They want a facade, and that's exactly what they got. Like that whole ARE and Tucson thing. It was a facade of a friendship. It helped one person, and the other person thought, oh, being here, like Tucson thought he was like, you know what I'm saying? Just for it to end up, oh. And yeah, that might look crazy, but a lot of times, God will allow things like that to happen to us to teach us, like, okay, this is not what it seems. Is this really what you want? Because this might have to be like what you're feeling right now. You might have to do that to someone else to be able to maintain that type of facade. So now it's like, okay, so are you still willing to do the things that get you what you want if it means hurting other people? And hurting other people comes with a price. This is God's kids you're talking about. You're not the only one in the world that God loves. God loves all his children. And he's going to discipline all his children to prevent them from hurting one another. I mean, it's just what's going to happen. It may not come now. It may come in 5 years. Might come next week. Might come in 10 years. But it's going to come. Everything must be balanced in this world, especially when it comes to interactions with each other. Anything you put out in this world, just know it's coming back to you. And that's why God allows things to happen to be like, okay, is this what you want to continue to put out in the world? Is this the change that you want to continue to push out for yourself and for others? And if that's not the case, then remove yourself and wait. But I feel like that is one of this nation's, like in general, a lot of things that people struggle with here. It's coveting. Most people think it's just lust and other stuff, but I'm like, the true root of a lot of people's issues is wanting what they see other people have. Because a lot of us here right now in America are suffering. A lot of people in America, half the country is literally below the poverty line as far as household income and how much they're able to bring in and take care of their family. So it's like, it's not just one person going through some shit, it's everybody. And I feel like now God's really giving us the opportunity to be like, okay, in the past, this is what people have valued. This is what, like, people value money over It's the love of money that has really, the greed that has really allowed people to believe that it's okay to harm others. Even when it comes to like more small time stuff, it's just like you'll see people in their own communities hurting each other, whether it be like stealing from one another, scamming each other out some bread. You never know. But like the grand scale of taking from people and just taking from people for the sake of self-survival, it's a sickness that has now bred all across everywhere. And it's like, it's crazy because even within the African community, especially being that back home, community is such like a staple in how we're brought up, in our integrity, our morals and values. Like community has always been how we survived, helping one another get to where we're supposed to be going faster. But because of this greed and these facades and these insatiable like wants that other people have to gain a status that you were never meant to position yourself in the first place, not because you're not worthy or that you don't deserve it, but simply because that position that you're wanting, you're not really realizing all the things, all the qualifications that are tied in with it. So a lot of times it's like we get mad at God, but a lot of times he just be protecting us, bro. He really just be protecting us. He really just be protecting us. And it's like we get mad at him and we want to be like, oh, this, that, and the third. But it's just like, if we took more time to really just be grateful for what he's already given us and what we see not only in ourselves but the people around us, it's like we just don't value life the same way anymore. We think because, like, obviously most of us are, not me personally, I don't really have much debt because I went to community college, but I went to college, and most of the times I was in community college, my school was paid for by the school. Like I got like scholarships and stuff. So I was really blessed to be able to, have those experiences without, breaking the bank and putting myself in like a situation where it's like, oh, now I'm looking behind over my shoulder for the rest of my life because of these huge amounts of debt. And I'm very grateful. It's like I'm not better than anyone for it because, I'm sure there are a lot of opportunities at college that would have helped me. You feel what I'm saying? Like, but at the same breath, I know my story and what fits with my story. So because I was able to stay strong regardless of what happened, the disapproval from my parents and all the other stuff and family in general, I still stuck to my guts. I still stuck to, it's not like I didn't try. I tried. I went to school 3 times. I went to school 3 times, you guys, 3 times. Changed my major 3 times and all. But it's just, it didn't feel like it fit my story. But that doesn't mean I didn't still educate myself. That's the thing that people also forget. Yes, even if you're not going to college, you still have to educate yourself on how to survive in this world. This world is not an easy place to live at. One thing about it, this world is not an easy place to live at all. So it's like, if we really want to not only have the experiences, to have the love, and to have the things that we genuinely value come to us in our life, we have to give up the facades and the things that we think that we want. Things that fit maybe the old versions of us. But the more you get to learn yourself, the more you get to understand what you truly want. And God gives you these wants and these desires for a reason. So it's not just there to be there. It's there because it's like God wants you to have a certain type of impact on the world. And in order to have that impact, you need certain desires that he can then use those desires to lead you to where he wants you to be. But you have to first be able to accept yourself and not want to be like everyone else. Wanting to be like everyone else is so useless because you guys have different guidelines. Like, I want people to really start understanding, like, when I say guidelines, I don't just mean guidelines can come from the bridge of your nose to the way that your eye is shaped, to the way that you speak, and to the things that you desire. Everything that you are is your guideline. God has placed something in you exactly how you were set in order to impact and help other people. Nothing that we do is just for ourselves. And we convince ourselves in order to survive that, obviously you have to come first. You have to come first because you can't help anyone until you help yourself. But in that same breath, we've been led to think that, oh, we're just here to live for ourselves. So if we're just here to live for ourselves and our own desires, what we want, we should get. But a lot of times what we want can hurt us in the long run because we haven't been equipped with those parts of the guideline necessary to maintain those blessings that we want. So yeah, you might be wanting something for so long. You finally attain it, it's like, oh, but then as time goes on, for example, you might want a specific individual, right? Not that you don't know, you might have known this individual for a while, right? But it's just like, you might have thought you knew what you knew. But the thing is, a lot of us, in order to survive, we have to learn facades at a young age, how to pretend like we're okay even when we're not. Because unfortunately, a lot of people do use our weaknesses or our short-sightings and stuff like that against us in this world. And the way to protect yourself from that is discernment. But as I said, just like the other parts of your character, discernment is a skill that needs to be utilized in order for you to be able to use it to its full potential. But a lot of times, instead of studying what God wants for us and what God has instilled in us and how to love what we already have, we oftentimes want to be like, oh, we have to be like this, we have to be like that, we have to look like this, we have to look like that. And that's just not the truth. You really don't. Everything that you are, everything that God has made you to be, is for a reason, babe. Whether it be a lopsided smile or a creaky laugh, bro, like, you are exactly who you were supposed to be in this world. I promise you that. And it's like, the moment you start appreciating who you've already been made to be, because God knew what your path was before you were even born. So therefore, he had to instill the things that you would need to be able to succeed and prosper as he has already laid out for you to be. But a lot of times we get scared to be ourselves. We get scared to be authentic. We get scared to just be different from what we see because we don't have a physical guideline for our guideline. So we take what we can see other people's guidelines and think, oh, I can make this fit for me. But a lot of times that fit can be very uncomfortable and very inauthentic. And that's where things like depression, anxiety, and stuff start to come out because it's your soul telling you that it's not happy. It's not happy with its current state of being and who you're allowing yourself to pretend to be. Because at the end of the day, you were meant to be a beautiful, bright snowflake. And I say snowflake because every single snowflake is different. You were never meant to be like your peers or to look like your peers. Like all this plastic surgery and all this other stuff, a lot of these people have come out and said, if I knew what I knew, I would have never done it in the first place. And that's not to say that you can't make tweaks and stuff to make yourself happier. But a lot of the times, the tweaks and stuff we make is from a lack of happiness and a lack of self-acceptance. So this week, I challenge you guys to just accept yourself more. Accept the challenges happening in your life. And instead of being scared of them, start trying to understand, like, why are all these changes happening? What is God trying to show me that I'm not really paying attention to, that's causing me to be so distraught because I simply don't understand? A lot of times when I was growing up, like when I was really young, I got diagnosed with severe depression at a very young age. Very, very young age. I think it was like freshman year of high school or whatever. But it wasn't just the depression. Like, yeah, I was going through a lot of shit at home and personal family stuff. But it was because I didn't understand how my brain worked. So when I found out I was on the spectrum and I had ADHD, because my brother was diagnosed with ADHD at a young age. So I was like, everything started to click. So I was like, oh, it's not that I'm just depressed, but I didn't understand who I was. So I was trying to make myself fit and adapt to all these different situations to feel a sense of home and to feel a sense of knowing within myself, not realizing all I had to do was understand who I was and who I was meant to be in order to feel that home, that knowing, and that grounding within myself. Because when you know who you are, it's because you know who God is, and you know that God lives within you and created you and created all the beautiful things about you. So understand today and tomorrow and every day after that, God made you. You're beautiful just how you are. And the more you learn to accept yourself and accept who you are and accept the change that you're meant to have in this world, the happier, the more joyful, and the more authentic you will feel, and the more authentic your impact will be. I love you guys.